Hello and welcome to ExamRevision, Leaving Cert Geography Predictions 2024. Today we're going to run through some of tips and hints for the 2024 Leaving Cert Geography paper. So we're going to run through the different sections on the paper and see if we can unpick maybe some kind of little predictions, see if there's any trends in the previous years that we can pick up on, and hopefully get you to, I suppose, study a bit smarter with the exams only around the corner, of course. So that is the basis of today. So the first thing we want to get to grips with for this particular year of 2024 is that there are still adjustments for the paper. Okay, so lucky for guys that are doing the Leaving Cert this year, you still have a little bit of adjustment to the paper, which means that you've got extra choice really when it comes to picking particular questions. And what this essentially means is that you can leave out one particular section, whichever section you feel maybe it is weakest, or maybe in class already you have decided with your teacher not to study a particular topic, you can then leave that out. Okay, so what it means is that you can pick 4 questions from 3 sections, whereas previous to this you would have had to do 1 question from each of the sections. So for example, you could in theory do 2 physical questions, so from patterns, processes and physical environment. You could then leave out regional if you wanted. Okay, you could do a question from your section 3 elective and then a question from your section 4 options. Okay, now it depends on your own personal preference, depends on what you've been doing in class. A lot of people maybe would do 1 question from physical, they will do 1 question from regional, they might leave out the elective altogether, and they'll actually do 2 80-mark essay questions from section 4 from the options. So again, it's completely up to you, it's what ever you've been doing in class. I would probably, if I was doing Leaving Cert myself this year, I probably would do 2 questions from section 4, as it is 2 essay options. Okay, we'll be looking at soils and biomes, so I'll be doing a soil question, I'll do a biome question, and it means that I've got less maybe planning of essays to do. I can kind of focus my attention onto 2 particular essays from that particular section. And it cuts down a little bit maybe in terms of revision by leaving out section 3. But however, if you're going to do 2 questions from section 1 in terms of your physical, then that's perfectly fine as well. So again, it's up to yourself. It's what you've been working towards with your teacher in class, and whatever you feel is best or whatever you feel is your strongest section, go with that and pick questions from there. So the first section that we're going to look at is our physical geography section. Okay, so questions 1, 2 and 3, and as we know, we're going to have an A part, we're going to have a B part, and we're going to have a C part as well. A part being worth 20 marks, whereas your 2 essays would be B and C, and they would both be worth 30 marks. Just to kind of touch on the A parts first of all, because they are important, of course, because they are worth your 20 marks, only 10 marks less than an actual essay itself. Question 1A is always going to be a sketch map. Okay, so your OS map, you're going to be asked to do a sketch of that and put 4 particular items on that sketch map then as a result. So in your revision, you should be practicing on previous exam papers, going back through them, practicing your different steps for your sketch map, getting your half scale, getting your key and legend, making sure everything is lined up, your title, your north arrow, making sure that you're getting that nailed on, because it's going to be there, folks. It's going to be question 1A. As soon as you open your paper, it's going to be there. So if you do choose, if the 2 essays after part A suit you, you will want to do question 1, so you better get studying those sketch maps, okay, and get practicing them, because the best way to improve on them is to do more and more practice. As well as that, a big thing that comes up very, very often and has a good chance of coming up this year as well, through an A part, will be the Earth's structure. So I would strongly recommend that you do go through the different parts of the Earth's structure. You go through plate tectonics, okay, you know your information in terms of that. It is a popular one, it has come up a good bit in the past, and in 2024 it is likely that you're going to see something like that in the A part. So do revise over that section. In terms of the essay questions, I suppose we're looking at, first of all, our rivers, our coasts, our glaciers. We know we're going to get a question on that depending on which one you study. I know a lot of people study rivers. Okay, and the key thing for 2024 is that you're going to see an erosional landform. So it does change every second year. Okay, it changes between deposition and it changes between erosion. Last year it was deposition. Okay, so this year undoubtedly we're going to see an erosion landform coming up. Okay, so if you're doing rivers, for example, you are going to want to get your waterfall essay ready. You're going to want to have that prepared. You're going to want to have sample answers done out on that. Following again your 15 SRPs, getting examples into your answer, getting a good label diagram at the end, because that is almost a certainty, folks, that you're going to see that. There's very few things here in the paper that we can say with, with 100% certainty or with a great amount of certainty that's going to come up. But for one question that we can be certain about is that definitely we're going to see that erosional landform. So for rivers, get your waterfall ready, and if you're doing coastal glaciers, have your erosion landform and those particular topics ready to go as well, depending on which one you have been studying in class. Okay. As well as that, we do know as well that in terms of the formation of rocks, this is something that has come up every single year in the last 17 years in terms of the Leaving Cert. So we're definitely going to see a formation of rocks question. The last couple of years, we have not seen sedimentary rocks. It has been igneous. It has been a combination of igneous and metamorphic before that. So really, you want to get ready for sedimentary rocks. Now, again, we could see a situation where they do go with igneous and metamorphic again. They could ask you to do maybe a sedimentary rock with a metamorphic rock even, or with an igneous rock. They do combine them some years. So do be aware of that. Don't neglect the other rocks, but I think a big part of our focus should be in terms of sedimentary rocks, okay? And as well as that, when you're studying your sedimentary rocks, it does bring you into your karst landscape. It does bring you into your chemical weathering, which is another question that can appear on the Leaving Cert paper as well. So by studying sedimentary rocks, you're getting ready for your chemical weathering as well and your karst landscape, your distinctive landscape as well. So it would be very beneficial to look through your sedimentary rocks, know them in depth, know the formation of your limestone, your organic rock, know the formation of your sandstone, your inorganic rock, know your examples of where you can find them, like limestone can be found in the Burren in County Clare, sandstone can be found in McGilly Reeks down in Cork. Know that information. Get your sample answers ready again in case sedimentary rocks come up, and it has a high chance of featuring, okay, in this year's paper. That would be crucially important. Last year, in terms of human interaction, we had human interaction with rocks, so there's a high possibility that we will see our human interaction with rivers. So again, you want to have your notes, you want to be going through your sample answers. In terms of human interaction with rivers, think about your man-made levees, think about your hydroelectric power, think about your canals, all that information that you would have ran through in class, that you would have in your notes, and you would have put into sample answers before. That would be a highly recommended question that you should also be going back over, okay? As well as that, of course, we do know that plate tectonics is going to be very, very important. It is every single year, especially your destructive plate boundaries. And by studying your destructive plate boundaries well, you are getting yourself prepared for earthquakes, you're getting yourself ready for volcanoes, you're getting yourself ready for fold mountains. So destructive plate boundary every single year is important topic to be looking back over, okay? So it could come up as a complete destructive plate boundary question where you're going to be asked about your continental plate boundaries, your oceanic plate boundary, and then your continental oceanic plate boundary, and about different features that form at those plate boundaries, such as your earthquakes, such as your volcanoes, such as your fold mountains. So do be studying back over that particular topic. And I suppose we can't rule out, because last year it didn't appear as a long question, as an essay question, so constructive plate boundaries also have a chance of featuring. So I would also be running through our constructive plate boundaries, okay? So you're talking about your mid-ocean ridges, you're talking about your mid-Atlantic Ocean ridge, iceland forming due to your two plates separating their convection currents, all of that. Go back through it, learn it, make sure that you know that going into the exam, okay? So plate boundaries would also be very, very important and comes up all of the time, okay? The final thing I have there is isostasy. Again, this essay did come up last year. If it doesn't come up in an essay, it could come up as an A part, could come up in a short question. It has become really popular from the examiners over the last number of years. In the exams, they've been really putting it in there. So I would have an essay prepared in terms of that, in terms of river rejuvenation and all the features that form because of that, or maybe even a bit in terms of the raising of coasts and beaches and things like that. Have a look over it. Have an essay ready to go on that. As I said, it has become popular, and it could be due to the fact that a lot of students don't answer that question particularly well. So that might be a topic that you might be, or would be well worth considering revising back over and getting yourself reacquainted with that topic, okay? Because again, it has become a very popular one to come up. Just to also bring your attention to the fact that exam revision is a great place in order to improve and enhance your studying for the Leaving Cert exams. They've got a complete revision package that you can avail of, and you can use the code 2024 TIPS for 10% off any package, and that goes for any subject, not just geography, that you may want, okay? And as a result, you have hundreds of bite-sized video tutorials that makes learning easier for you. So you've basically got tons and tons of grinds, okay, online grinds, tutorials there ready to go, all information you needed, all exam focused, getting yourself ready for the Leaving Cert exams, junior cert exams if you're doing your junior cert. So it is a really, really good package, and it is well worth pursuing because you will get a lot of benefit from it. There's no doubt about that, okay? As you can see here, with details are all there, complete revision package, your bite-sized video tutorial grinds, PowerPoints, your notes, which are really, really helpful. There's sample answers within those notes as well. So if we're talking about isostatic processes there, you can get a sample answer there straight away to help you with that. You've got exam and mock paper questions there ready to go, all the marking schemes so that you can look through your own answers, make sure that you are getting full marks. You've got quizzes, you've got your reflective log, and you've got obviously your technology there to guide you, okay? As I said before, you have those video tutorials which are extremely helpful for you, of course. And the big thing is you've got lots of different subjects available. You can see there you've got your 8 junior cycle subjects available, and unbelievably 17, okay, Leaving Cert subjects there, which geography, of course, is included, okay? So again, well worth getting, guys. 10% off, great deal. So can be really, really worthwhile and beneficial to you, and it has helped numerous amounts of students before, okay? So that you can see, right, if I go to the next slide, you've got all of these student reviews, people saying how much it has helped them, how much it was worth to them. They felt that it was a great way to study, they felt that even the topics that they felt were very difficult, exam revision really made it simple for them, simplified the whole thing for them, made it easier for them, and has really, really benefited them, okay? So again, would be well worthwhile for anyone that is doing the Leaving Cert this year. So now looking into our regional geography, okay, and looking at what topics have a really high chance of coming up this year, or what we maybe need to be looking out for. Key thing again, right, a bit like we looked at physical geography, we said question 1A is always going to be a sketch map of an OS map. Question 4A, okay, because regional questions are questions 4 to 6, question 4A is always a sketch map, okay, and you can be asked to do a sketch map of an Irish region, a European region or your subcontinental region. So you want to have sketch maps ready for each of those. You want to be practicing a sketch map for each of those particular regions. Okay, so for example, Ireland is generally actually you can get asked to do a sketch of the whole of Ireland and pick out particular parts, and the region I would suggest you focus on for that would be the Greater Dublin area. In terms of the European region, you want to be looking at the Paris Basin, would probably be the best thing to do. And then whatever subcontinental region you're doing, if you're doing India, Brazil, or Southwest USA, it depends on what you've been doing in class, okay? In terms of what has come up in the last couple of years, we have not seen a subcontinental region come up since 2021. As a result, okay, maybe it could have a high chance of coming up this year, okay? It's not a definite or anything like that, but it hasn't come up since 2021. In the last 2 years, you've had a European region in 2023, okay, and in 2022, we had an Irish region, okay? Subcontinental was 2021 and was the year previous. So they have gone 2 in a row in previous years. So again, they could put up a European region again for this year. They could go back to Ireland, but just that subcontinental has a high chance probably of this year having not come up in the last 2 years. In terms of your Irish regions then, okay, what you need to be looking at, probably less likely now this year to see a bit of primary activities. The reason being the fact that the last 2 years they have focused on questions with regards to primary economic activities. That is pointing us then towards secondary and tertiary for Ireland for this year. So there's a high chance that either one of those is going to come up this year. Again, nothing is guaranteed, of course, but if we're focusing on Ireland, high chance that either of those topics would appear. In terms of the Paris Basin region, okay, secondary economic activities have come up in 2023. So again, there's nothing to say that doesn't come up again this year, but focusing in on our primary and tertiary economic activities because they didn't come up in the last couple of years, that could be one or two topics to look at. Also, development of an urban area, and that goes, it could ask you for an Irish region, could ask you for a European region, is your subcontinental region, or it could be just very general and allow you to pick an urban area of your choosing. Focus in on that. Has again a good chance of coming up, and I have that mentioned it again in your subcontinental region below also. So maybe worth taking a look at an answer for that and your notes around your urban area. And then in terms of your subcontinental region, last year it was focused in on tertiary economic activities. So primary has a high chance of coming up in terms of subcontinental, maybe even a little bit in secondary. Okay, so we want to be aware of that also. And I suppose Brazil hasn't, or the subcontinental region hasn't been focusing as much in the last couple of years, so there could be a situation where we get more than one question based on your subcontinental region. So just be aware of that and look over those particular topics. It could be well worthwhile this year. Okay, then you're looking at other particular questions that could come up in terms of regions as well. One that I've just kind of picked out here is your question on culture. Didn't come up last year, so has the potential again to come up this year. So whatever region of culture you've looked at, whether it be the Gaeltacht in Ireland, whether it be Belgium, or maybe culture within Brazil, maybe, whatever it is, your notes on that, your sample answer on that, do have a look over it, have it ready, in case you're going to see something like that appearing on a 2024 paper, which again is all highly likely. So then, for those people that are going to do your elective, if you're focusing on your elective, if you're doing your economic elective, okay, probable questions for June 2024. So just a couple of areas that you might want to focus on and maybe focus your studies towards. Remember, again, you're always going to get an OS map question. Okay, it comes up every single year as a 30 marker question in your economic elective. So do be ready for that, whether it be the location of industry or something around that. So just be aware of that. Drawing an OS map or aerial photograph is also a 20 marker every single year. It's going to be an 8-part question. Be aware of that. Be looking over that and practicing again. Okay, just like you have been told for your physical geography. Multinational companies. Okay, you've got your MNCs, you've got your footloose industries, right, could all be part of that also, have a high chance of coming up. You've got your environmental impacts of economic activities also have a high chance of coming up. And we're also saying that conflict due to exploitation of natural resources, these few essays have again, right, a high chance of coming up in 2024. Not saying like they're definitely going to come up or anything like that, but looking through trends in previous years, they could be something that you might want to focus on. If it is the human elective that you have been studying in class, obviously this is the area that you want to work on. So again, just be aware that question 10A is always a sketch map of a photograph, remembering that that is going to be different than a sketch map of your OS map. So there's going to be some certain changes to that. Remember, you're not going to have a north arrow. Okay, so you want to have your technique ready in terms of how you draw a sketch map of a photograph. And again, practice is the best thing to be doing in terms of preparing yourself for that particular question. Okay, so again, that's definitely going to be question 10A. In terms of 2024 focus, right, we can kind of look at maybe a couple of questions here. Maybe in terms of population, overpopulation, the causes and effects of that. That could be an area to really focus in on, could be something to be aware of, okay, and go through, okay, in case it were to come up. And has a high chance of coming up in 2024. Also, you might want to look at, in terms of urban, human elective, urban expansion and sprawl, and then also urban problems of the future, okay, of future cities. They can also be quite popular and could be due in 2024. I'd also be looking over your central place theory because it didn't come up last year. It is a very popular one, comes up quite a lot. So looking through your central place theory and your sample answer or notes that you've got on that would also be well advised. We then move on to our geoecology section, and as I said at the start, a lot of people would be focusing on this in terms of doing actually 2 essays, okay? The reason being that it's 1 essay, as you've seen in your physical, your regional, and your elective sections, you do have a lot of situations where in each question that you're doing, you're going to have to do 2 essays, 2 30-mark essays, okay? Whereas in this section, your geoecology, you only have to focus on 1 long essay, your 1 80-mark essay, of course marked a bit differently with your overall coherence marks and things like that, which you would have went through in class with your teachers, I'm sure. So in terms of that, you may be looking at doing 2 questions from here to obviously cut down maybe in your revision and to study a bit smarter. Looking at the previous years, it gives an idea of what we can expect for 2024. So last year, what came up was human interaction with a biome. So just focusing on the biomes first of all. So again, you're probably going to see 1 biome question out of the 3 in this option. And it came up last year, came up in 2021, 2019, 2017, 2014. Okay, now there's nothing to say that it won't come up 2 years in a row, but it hasn't really happened in the past. So there is a high chance that with the biome question, they will change it up. So with regards to that, then that means that there's a really good chance that characteristics of a biome is going to appear, because they have been kind of alternating the last couple of years between human interaction and the characteristics of a biome. So I'd be definitely looking over my characteristics, getting them nailed down. Again, your sample answers, your notes, making sure that you have an essay ready to go for characteristics of biome, because again, 2024, really high chance of that coming up. Now, the only curveball to that I would put is you do have your plants and animals adaptations question, okay, so how they've adapted to climate there, how they've adapted to the soil. So you would want to be aware of that that could be potentially the essay that comes up, okay, that they could ask you. So I would be preparing that. I wouldn't be neglecting it, although it hasn't come up since 2015. It's a long time since it has come up. They seem to have forgotten about it a small bit, but it could again be reintroduced into 2024 paper. So just be aware of that, and don't neglect it essentially. But I would be saying that the characteristics of biome does have a really strong chance of appearing this year. In terms of your soils, if you want to then do 2 questions from here, and you maybe want to pick up a soils question. Human interaction with soils, positive and negative human interaction with soils. I would say this year has a high chance of coming up. Did not come up last year in 2023, so it could be due to come up this year. So if there was one soils question that I would focus on, it would be that one. But again, I wouldn't be neglecting maybe other soils questions that would have the potential of coming up as well. But this would be certainly my pick for soils questions for this year. Also, just to let people know that through exam revision, okay, we are doing a kind of a May 1-day intensive revision course in all Leaving Cert or most subjects, all the subjects that you've seen advertised already on the platform. We do have that 1-day intensive revision course, including geography again, where we go into a lot more detail about different questions. We give you notes, we give you expert teaching, how to basically approach the exam, so exam technique, H1 notes as I've mentioned. It's live, so you can ask any questions you want on the day. You're going to get key tips. There's going to be the focus on the main topics that I've just kind of gone through really in this short video. And then again, like we've kind of done in this video, but in a lot more detail, I'll be going through the probable exam questions for Leaving Cert 2024, right? So these intensive courses, they run from Saturday, so this Saturday, the 18th of May, all the way through to Sunday, 26th of May. Just go onto the website, okay, examrevision.ie, see what dates each subject is on, and you can book from there. And again, it'd be well worth doing, guys. It'd be very helpful for any student taking the Leaving Cert, okay? And again, as part of this video, here is the code. You can get 10% off any package, okay? So off a complete revision package, you can get money off using this code. Well worth using, folks. Very helpful. Lots of students in previous years have had huge help and success from using exam revision. I hope you have found this video helpful, that you can take a lot from it and going forward into your studies. And I wish you the best of luck with your Leaving Certs.